Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. Welcome to the Sports Network. In this podcast, we're talking package with Steve. We're going over Week 5, 2023 NFL season. And you know what? Actually, wait, we'll just go over Week 4. The Week 4 that was. The Lions over the Packers, 34-20. Jaguars over the Falcons, 23-7. They're in London. That was fun. Toy Story game. Rams over the Colts, 29-23. And that was a close game. Ravens over the Browns, 28-3 on the road. The Vikings get their first win, 21-13 over the Panthers, saved by Titans over the Bengals, 27-3. Buccaneers over the Saints, 26-9. Bills over the Dolphins, 48-20. Broncos over the Bears, getting the first win, 31-28. Eagles over the Commanders, 34-31. Texans over the Steelers, 30-6. Chargers over the Raiders, 24-17. 49ers over the Cardinals, 35-16. Cowboys beat up on the Patriots, 38-3. Chiefs over the Jets. Aaron Rodgers not in the plans for a while. The Jets made it close, 23-20. Chiefs over the Jets. The Seahawks beat up on the Giants past week, 24-3. So overall, it was a interesting week 4. That was, and in regards to like standing wise, we're still close and everybody's doing well, truly. And but after week 4, Gunning was 12-4, AJ 11-5, Big Cheese 10-6, and me at 8-8. So I had the worst, but it still was good overall. And then overall, AJ takes the lead of 41-23. Big Cheese 40-24. Gunny 39-25. And myself 35-29. So yeah, there's a tiebreaker. AJ taking the lead there. By a game. So he has a game lead there in the saddle for that. And he's certainly doing pretty well in all that aspect. But yeah, overall was an interesting week. It was for week 4. Week 5 starts tomorrow. In all those games, But like I said, the Packers didn't look that great. We losing to the Lions, and the fact that we did show up as well as I wanted them to. Just like anything could have been better, right? Wasn't perfect, wasn't this and that, wasn't that, but it still was a game. We made it closer than could have been. Was we were getting blown out, but need to keep improving. And I'm sure we will. Not the Raiders. It's interesting how these next 3 weeks were. This week, week 4, week 5, week 6. Week 4, we're on the first game of the week, Thursday, facing the Lions, as we did. Now, we have that big break to the Monday night, the last game of week 5, and then week 6. So, all that put together. Something very interesting for sure and how that all is. My co-host AJ will be here shortly when he can, but just wanted to share my thoughts in regards to what was week 4 and how the Packers did, and I really hope that we can be able to improve. The loss of Bakhtiari, David Bakhtiari being on the IR now, and he's going to be on the IR for a while, so that means he's out for 4 weeks and everything. So that is unfortunate for David, but we got to move forward, pick ourselves up. We got the Raiders, and we go from there. But before I move on and keep rambling and talking, I welcome my co-host with the most, AJ.
What's up, man?
Repping OSU there.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
But I was just going over what was the past week, which was week 4, and all that craziness, and I don't know if you were able to see the early morning London game yourself on Sunday morning.
No, I didn't catch it.
But it was a fun game. I did check out the Toy Story version a little bit. I know a lot of people saw it on Twitter, the highlights and everything. It was cute, and it worked for what it was, right? For the kids.
For sure.
I remember Toy Story. I remember the original more than so than the others. But the point is, it still was entertaining to a point for me, even at my age. So, just to get your thoughts here as you jump in, um, your thoughts overall. That was week 4 of this season.
It was a fun week, I thought. It was a good week. A lot of good games, comebacks. It was another NFL week. I mean, the game that I wanted a win the most, obviously, was the most disappointing game of the week for the Packers, but is what it is. But yeah, it was another good week. They're always NFL's always you got your couple games that are really good, so another good week. Keep it going.
Exactly. For me, as I was talking about earlier, the biggest thing for me was the Jets not quitting on their team, quitting on Zach. Zach
Yeah.
played well, played his heart out. Aaron was there in person,
Mm-hmm.
not just in spirit. But
Yep.
and so was Taylor Swift. But
Yeah.
he was there, and the Jets and actually showed up, had a chance for the win. Were close instead of what people were thinking coming off their loss in week 3 or week 4, whatever, and or week 3 heading into week 4 and thinking that they were gonna just get steamrolled by the
Yeah.
Chiefs, and I was actually glad to see that that wasn't the case. They still lost, but
Yeah.
a lot closer. But anyways, let's move forward. That is week 5. Starting off with tomorrow night, of course, the Thursday night game, the headliner, Baker Mayfield with the Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I'll go with the Commanders. I think it'll be a close game, low scoring game, maybe like a 17-13 type of final. But what say you? How do you see things going down in the nation's capital?
Yeah, I like the Commanders too. First off, it couldn't have gone any better. I thought as a Packers fan for the Bears to just absolutely blow that game, which was great. But no, this week the Commanders, they're a fun team to watch. Honestly, they're on the rise. They're fighting in that they're in a tough division. But I like their defense just more than Chicago's. Their O line's bad. The Bears O line's bad. Bears defense is bad. I think Chase Young's going to have a coming out party since he started playing again. I like him tomorrow. I like the Commanders' offense more. I'm going Commanders all the way tomorrow.
And then heading into the Sunday games, the first one again in London, or in England, the Jaguars again. They're home away from home, but this time technically being the road team. They're going up against the Buffalo Bills, and for me, that is already early the game of the week. For me, I have the Bills Jaguars. It's the game of the week, and unsurprisingly, I'm going with the Jaguars for the win. They did it before. Um, when it was the Battle of the Allens there, the Josh Allens,
Mm-hmm.
and if I remember right, Josh Allen of the Jaguars got one of each. Got a sack, strip sack, fumble recovery, and an interception
Mm-hmm.
of Josh Allen, the
Yeah.
quarterback of the Bills. So, I'm not saying that's going to
Oh yeah.
be its up exactly, but I do think the Jaguars overall is a good team. They match up well with Buffalo then and now. Yeah, they had that egg against Houston the other week in the past, but I do see the Jaguars climbing and trying to take hold of that division. So that's what I see. What do you see happening over the pond?
The Bills look good this week, man. It kind of, I wouldn't say it surprised me because I know the Bills are a good team, but the way that they did it and the way that they dominated the Dolphins was not what I expected at all. And I think it's not going to be to that extent again this week, but I think they're going to have their way with the Jags. I just don't like what the Jags have showed so far in these past couple of weeks. I know they beat Atlanta this week, but still not. It wasn't clean. It didn't look great. I mean, Desmond Ritter played horrible and really just handed the Jaguars the game. But I like the Bills again this week. Their defense looks good. Offense and Josh and Diggs look great. I'm going Bills.
Like that next one up, we got the Saints and somewhat of a mess, New England Patriots. Patriots are at home though. I'll let you go first here. Teams Patriots are able to bounce back, and in regards to the Saints, their own situations. But what do you say in this matchup?
I'm going Saints. New England is a mess as well. They lost Judon. They lose their rookie Gonzalez. Both of them are gonna miss time. I know they just got JC back, but he hasn't played yet. So I like the Saints. There's just too much going on over there between Mac, Zappy, their defense. I like. It'll be another low-scoring game. Saints defense is really good. Patriots offense isn't great. Saints offense isn't great. Patriots defense is solid. But I like the Saints to sneak one out late in the game. But I'm going New Orleans.
Yeah, same here. And also just to add, whether it's a spicy take or not, if the season continues to go as it's going for New England, I don't think Bill Belichick will be fired. I think for everything that he's done for the organization, for that franchise and ownership base and all that, an owner, I think they wouldn't do that to him, even if it was a business decision. I think the business decision would be, say, tough suggestion to retire. I think in the end, if this season keeps going the way it's going, he's going to retire officially.
I agree.
And move on, and then the dynasty will, in a way, be over as it already is. But you know what I mean? Officially, Tom Brady leaving a couple years ago now, Belichick retiring. And I know a lot of people will like that because I know not everybody like Tom or like the Patriots' dominance just as much as now people are slowly hating on the Chiefs, and their greatness and wanting anybody but the Chiefs. So with that shift, how it was with New England, that could change. Anyways, for me, just to keep this going, I'm going with the Saints as well, like a 23-3 kind of win. I think the Patriots are just spiraling and just keep spiraling down, unfortunately. I'm moving forward for me, a game of the week candidate. But we got the Tennessee Titans going in Indianapolis, Indiana to face the Colts there. I think the Colts look tough. They look good. But what say you? What do you think is going down in Indy?
This will be really close. I'm going with the Colts. They just had that heartbreaking loss, come all the way back, don't get the ball in overtime. Rams score, it was over. Titans are coming off a huge win, even though the Bengals are a mess too. I like the Colts at home. It's a pretty even match. If Anthony Richardson plays well, which he should, the Titans secondary is not great. The Colts will sneak this one out, but it'll be really close, and I expect it to be somewhat of a low-scoring game as well, too, but I'm going Indy.
Same here. I'm going Colts over the Titans, like a 24-21 kind of score, so I see someone high-scoring, somewhat of a battle, but overall, the Colts eking it out and getting the win there. Moving forward, we have the Baltimore Ravens going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That saying, like, this isn't your grandfather's Steelers, they're your father's Steelers. This is the 2023 version of the Steelers is not so great, unfortunately. Nope. Still a great head coach, but not what they used to be, even with TJ Watt there on defense. So for me, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens to get a win here, like a 27-9 kind of score, just dominating. Even if the Steelers make it close, if it's not like my score is dictating, it's still going to feel like a blowout, if that makes sense. Score closer than it actually indicates. But in the end, I'm just going with the Ravens for the win. All right. What do you see happening in Pittsburgh?
I got Baltimore. Lamar's played some of his best football that he has in his whole career, honestly. He's played really well the past couple weeks. If the Ravens can keep him healthy and they can get the rest of their guys healthy, this could be a special year for the Ravens. They're always the same team, always play good defense, good run game, and Lamar's got more weapons this year. I know that's later down the line, but I like what I see from Baltimore right now. I'm going Baltimore this week, especially. So,
and moving right along, might be tough to say, but it is a fact. The NFC North Division leaders, Detroit Lions at home, going up against the Carolina Panthers. I mean, we'll talk about our game later, but I think both of our teams have easy games. You never really know until you play, but it seems that way. But let's just focus here with the Lions first. Panthers, Lions, what do you see happening in Detroit for our division foe?
Lions by a lot. I think, unfortunately, they're going to start to find their stride now. Their schedule is really favorable. They got a lot of games that they can win, which isn't great, but it is what it is. But I think the Lions are about to find their stride, and it starts this week, and they're going to beat the Panthers by a lot.
Yeah, they have a pretty good stretch here coming up. Obviously, I don't know from the top of my head, but from what I was hearing, it's a good stretch for them to be able to find. They found the footing, beating us, to be quite honest, and then keep it going. But like you said, we're just being honest with it beyond, what our heart and soul would want to say.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm going with the Lions as well, kind of a beat down, maybe even a shutout. But I'm gonna go 40 to 13. Panthers get some garbage touchdown or won't too. Either way, Lions with the win. I would say, even though this isn't a category at the end of the year, but team of the year or comeback team of the year being the Houston Texans. As a team, they're improving. I enjoy CJ Stroud. The Texans going up against Atlanta, a team that's Jekyll and Hyde sometimes to me here. I know we're only a quarter of the season in, but it seems like, they're hot cold. But it's a battle of those quarterbacks. You got Ritter versus Stroud. Who's going to match up well? I'm actually going to go with some might say upset, maybe not. But I'm going to go with Houston over Atlanta. I'm going to go Houston over Atlanta 26-20 as a final score. But obviously the point just being Houston getting the win on the road. What say you? Do you think CJ Stroud can get it done on the road in Atlanta?
Absolutely. I love the Texans, honestly. If I had to pick another team to watch every week, which I even do right now, it's the Houston Texans. I love Stroud. I love the young guys they have. Their defense is playing better than what was expected. Their offensive line is holding up, which is good because it's keeping CJ off the ground. But I like the Texans this week. I like the Texans in general. I think they're the second best team in that division. I know they've already beat Jacksonville and they lost to the Colts, but you know, schedules you get through later part of the season it gets tough. But I like Houston and I think they're going to compete all year, and they're only going to get better because they're young. So
Mm-hmm.
I like the Texans this week.
I think their sky is the limit. AJ, I just have a
Mm-hmm.
feeling that they, I think first they found their quarterback, right? Yes,
Oh
it
yeah,
won't be
no
perfect
doubt.
and all that, but found their quarterback. He's growing already, maturing. And I was looking at this before we went live, or before the show started, is that division right now, a quarter way through, right? The first quarter of the season, they're all knotted up at 2-2, all four of them. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
four-way tie for first. So it's like, the season started 0-0. My point in saying that is that, they're still in it. Everybody's still in it. And they're a good team that can match up well with Jacksonville, who they already beat.
Absolutely.
Now, be able to keep that up, who knows? But, you know, everything being equal and everybody being healthy on all 32 teams, I think Houston has a good chance to do something.
Yep.
Unfortunately, a team that doesn't have much to do with nothing, and a team that put a 70 burger on the Broncos the past week. We got the Giants against the Dolphins. Polar opposite teams. I'm going to go with the Dolphins with literally just laying the smackdown on the Giants.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Dolphins over Giants 45-3. Sorry, not sorry, just how I feel. What say you? Do you think the Giants have a chance in heck to get the win?
No chance. No chance. The Giants are terrible. That's just, I mean, it's just how it is right now. The Giants are terrible. Their offensive line is garbage. Their defense is not good. And people can say what they want about Daniel Jones, but I don't know what the heck they expect out of him right now. That offensive line is terrible. They get Waller, and they don't even give the ball to Waller. I mean, it's a mess over there too, and it's only going to get worse. You see the stuff on the sidelines with Dable throwing the iPad, Daniel Jones. It's bad over there, and it's just going to get worse this week going to Miami playing that offense. So I'm going Dolphins.
Right, you get beat up by Seattle, and now you have to go to
Yeah,
go to Miami after what they did to
yeah.
Denver a couple weeks ago.
Hey, good
Yeah,
luck.
that's unfortunate. Just terrible, horrible, no good, very bad. But anyways, we move forward. We got the Bengals and the Cardinals. Now, I think this is actually a closer matchup than some may think. Two reasons: Arizona's defense, see them improving, being very well. Bengals are kind of falling all over each other on their feet. I know Burrow is pushing through it. He's still playing. Not out. In any of the games. He could have been. I think Arizona has a good chance to get this win. Not saying they are going to. I'm just saying they have a good chance. Don't be surprised if they do. But officially, my prediction will be the Bengals getting a win, 27-16. But I do see, and actually will be cheering for, to be quite honest, Arizona to stay close, let alone to win. But my prediction is Cincinnati. What say you? How do you see the Cardinals overall in a quarter of the season? And who do you have winning the game?
Well, what the Cardinals have done so far is, I mean, it's kind of impressive. They don't have a whole lot, and they've had a tough schedule, and they've played these teams pretty tough, honestly. They competed with the 49ers this past week. And going into this week, I was seeing videos today of Joe actually like being under center and being able to drop back and plant on that calf and throw the ball down the field, which is huge for the Bengals because it's been a mess. Their offense has been terrible. Their defense hasn't been great. No T. Higgins this week, but I think Joe plays like Joe this week in some way. He's not going to play like he has these past couple weeks, and I like Jamar this week. I think the Bengals start to piece it together a little bit this week, and I like them by a couple scores this week. The Cardinals, they've played everybody tough. It just feels like the Bengals need to figure it out at some point or explode, and if they're going to, it's got to be this week against Arizona, and I'm going Cincinnati.
All right. Now we're moving ahead into the next game. Could be a trap game. I know I've been hearing that somewhat on Twitter from Rams fans and non-Eagle fans. We got the Eagles versus the Rams in LA. So I'll start with you. Do you think the Rams could trap the Eagles and get a surprise win at home?
Could they? Yeah. Are they going to? No. The Eagles have honestly been they haven't been impressive. They've played not the best teams, and they've been in a close game with all of them. I mean, the Commanders this week, I know it's a division opponent, but the Bills absolutely smacked them all over the field. And then you let them come into Philadelphia, force overtime, and just their secondary hasn't been great at all. And their run defense isn't that impressive either. And this week could be tough for them. Kyren Williams and Puka, Tutu. I mean, in LA, this could be a tough game for Philadelphia. I expect them to win, but I do expect it to be close again. I think they got a lot to figure out on defense right now. And until then, they're going to be in close games, and I think they're going to be in a close game this week too, but they're going to pull it out.
Can say it better myself. I agree. 23-17 Eagles over the Rams. Simply put, as AJ stated so eloquently. Moving forward, we got the New York Football Jets going up against the Denver Broncos. I know Jets fans, new friends of mine through their Jets universe, looking forward to this game because of the words Sean Payton said during the offseason about Nathaniel Hackett and all that, chirping back and forth, and Aaron got in the middle of that. Even though Aaron's not playing, it's still the Jets, and they still secret revenge and all that. So it's going to be an interesting game. The Jets showed a lot in the Kansas City game. I'm going to go with the Jets to get the win, not just because it's the Broncos, but I just think overall it's going to be a good way for themselves to get some footing and be able to have momentum and move forward from there. I'm going to go with the Jets over the Broncos 23-16, getting the win in a close game. What say you happening in Denver?
I'm going with the Jets. I like Garrett Wilson a ton this week. I think he's going to go off. He's going to have a really good game, but Wilson looked better this week, and I don't know if he's capable of replicating it again, but there was good signs from that, and everyone had his back behind it, and you could tell that he was genuinely upset that they lost that game. And it's weird, but it's like they lost the game, but it was felt like a step in the right direction for the Jets. I just don't think Denver's offense is good enough to go against that defense and score points, and I like Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson more than the Broncos and that defense that has struggled. I mean, Justin Fields started the game off like 100%, which is absurd. I mean, we've seen Justin, but I like the Jets this week, and I think they're going to keep going in the right direction. So I'm going Jets.
Moving right along here, we have the Chiefs. We were just talking about with their matchup with the Jets being close, but now going up against Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings on the road. I'll let you go first here. With another, of course, to the rival, we got the Vikings at home against the Chiefs. I'm kind of torn yet in regards to who I'm going to pick, but what say you in regards to this good matchup actually between the Chiefs and Vikings?
Yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs, but this is a big game for the Vikings. They honestly really need to win this game, especially where they are in the standings and the record. But I'm going with Patty just because of how he played Monday night, and I don't see him playing bad like that again, especially the next week. I don't the Vikings defense isn't great. I do think this is somewhat of a shootout. I don't think the Chiefs defense is great in any means, and the Vikings throw the ball all over the place. So I like the Chiefs in a close one, but the Vikings just aren't going to win. They're going to fall to 1-4.
I'm going to agree with that one. I'm going with the Chiefs as well, getting the win, like 27-23 type of score. But I see it being close. Vikings being able to stay in it through the whole game, kind of like the Jets were. But unfortunately, just not be able to stop Mahomes enough to get the win overall. Next up for Sunday Night Football, we got Dallas against San Francisco. Just like if it was back in the 90s, those great rivalries there, and in the past 80s and 90s. But I'll let you go first here. What say you happening in San Francisco?
I I think it's going to be really close. I was thinking this week, this is just like something Dallas would do is like come into San Francisco and somehow win this game when it's not what Dallas is known for in these big games. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm going San Francisco. I think it's gonna be really close. But that that 49ers team is loaded. They're the best team in the league in my opinion. Brock Purdy's been great. I mean, Ayuk's been great. Chris McCaffrey has been out of this world. That defense is crazy. I like the 49ers in a close one. I think this is somewhat low scoring, like around, like 2017 or something like that. It's gonna be hard. Both these defenses are really good, but I think the 49ers sneak this one out at home.
I have the 49ers going to win. I think it's going to be a bigger win. Not that they're that much better, but I just think their defense be able to attack Dak. I mean, we saw what Arizona was able to do to Dak in Arizona. But I'm going to go 49ers over Dallas, 30-17 type of win. But either way, we both are going with the Niners. So to finish off the week and for our game in general, for our team, we got the Packers on the road to Vegas for Monday Night Football. Packers, Raiders. Um, what do you see as the three keys to the game for you, for us to get to victory, and all that in regards to this matchup?
Well, for one, you gotta involve Aaron Jones and Christian Watson, and somehow, I don't know why it's hard, but they're your two most dynamic offensive players. You got to put the ball in their hands. This Raiders defense is terrible. Get the ball in their hands. Two, they got to somehow stop the run. I mean, if Josh Jacobs gets going, I don't know the status on Jimmy Garoppolo yet, but if he gets going and they can't stop the run, then it's just going to make Jimmy Garoppolo's job easier, especially with Devontae. And three is that O line has to be better. I mean, it was horrible, and there's Elton Jenkins has been practicing, which is way earlier than what I thought he was going to be, but that would be huge if he somehow plays. Eric Stokes might be back, but that offensive line has to be better. If they can do those three things, just give the ball to your best player, stop the run, and actually protect Jordan, then they should win this game easily. The Raiders' defense is terrible, and their offensive line is terrible as well. So I expect quite a few sacks. I'm going Green Bay. I don't want to say it's like a blowout, but I like them by like 13-10, not like 13 or 10 points.
Right.
That's how I'm feeling for this week.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be all about the defense being able to stop the run specifically, let alone overall. I'm going to go with the Packers over the Raiders, 27-13 type of score. But either way, we're both going with the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, that'll wrap it up in regards to talking about Week 5. Like I said, Week 4 was what it was. Another great week of football. Week 5, we're heading in. AJ, as I was telling you at the top of the show, you have taken the lead in regards to predictions. Heading into this week and as we move forward, and it's fun doing that sort of stuff. And I appreciate you joining the ride in a sense there. But before you go, any last thoughts, wishes, or cares to say, and also share to people to find you on social media?
Yeah, social media, my X account's just a jailer0. That's where most of all my stuff is for sure. That's where I put all my Packers, Ohio State, Reds, whatever. A lot is on everything's on Twitter or X or whatever, but that's AJLR0, and then my Instagram as well is just AJLR0, but I use that more for like my life, what's going on, whatnot. So yep. It's all from me, man. Just go Pack Go. Gotta
Exactly.
get a win this week.
Yeah, it's go Pack Go. And for me personally, right now, I'm in the middle of the Brewers game for the playoffs and the ropes. I got one out to the Diamondbacks, the D-backs. So we'll see how that one goes for that. But yes, thank you everybody for watching. We'll be back next week as we are every single week. And above all else, as always, take care.